Hi, the purpose of today's video is I just wanted to talk about how hard it is to keep momentum. So I'll tell you a bit of a story. At the beginning of this year, I decided that I wanted to get serious about having a YouTube channel. And my real mission, when I really boil down everything, is that one of the things that I'm really passionate about and my values is the love of learning. And as a result of that, I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of YouTube videos. I'm always, I read articles, I read blogs, I subscribe to subscriptions in Substack. That's just the way I've always been wired. I'm very curious. So, and I believe that there's a lot of people like that. So the purpose of, I would probably say like my driver was, I felt like I had become just like a serial consumer where I'm always consuming different information. I'm always looking for the next thing that I'm reading about, almost to no end, or just continuously doing, because that's just the natural way that I do. And I had something that really resonated with me, and it was a fellow person who is really into the love of learning, and they were talking about how they get security or they feel safe when they read more information. So anyway, back to the purpose of this video today, which is to just talk about how hard it is to keep momentum. So I definitely knew that there's a value alignment in terms of the love of learning, the things that I want to do, and in the context of this of recording and sharing is, I feel like as a person who's been reading a lot since like 2011, which is 10 years ago, is that I feel that there's also a lot to share. Sometimes I recommend books to my friends and I'll say, oh, I think you should read this book, and sometimes people are like, oh, they don't have time or they want a summary. So in a nutshell, what really is my driver is to have a platform where I'm able to share with my friends and the people who are like me, people who are time poor, people who would like to have more time to do self-development but they don't have, to keep them in a very condensed form, as well as share knowledge. And I know that everything that we do is not necessarily altruistic, and my own benefit, I guess, from this as well is that I think it solidifies the things that I've learned. When you look at the statistics around retention, we're probably only retaining about 10% or 20% of what we read. Like, sometimes you think, oh man, I read Principles book by Ray Dalio and it was such a good book, but like, what was it again? So from a learning perspective, I guess, from what I'm getting from it is, by then sharing, it enables me to actually confront whether I truly understood the concepts that I read and everything. So that's main. So the thing that I found that is hard about like keeping your momentum is that there's so many things that are in the way. So I've looked from a benchmarking perspective, look at like the really good YouTube channels, like people like Ali Abdaal, CoffeeZilla, and a lot of the YouTube good YouTube channels, and a lot of them, they tell you that for you to get to about 1,000 subscribers, you need to do about 150 videos. So at the beginning of the year, I set a goal to say that I would like to make 50 videos, so 50 YouTube videos, which works out to be about one a week. I think at the beginning of January I recorded one, which is very ad lib, and just me being true to myself, and I was proud of it. The main thing I was proud about it is I was proud of myself that I got out of my shell and I got over like, what are my friends going to think about, how's it going to reflect as I evolve, and I did it. And then after that, I think I went a little bit for a pause for about maybe 2 months, because now I started thinking like, okay, what am I going to be talking about? Like, why would anybody want to listen to me? Which are things that I don't even think about like on a conscious level with other things. Like, I'm not a person who can claim to say that I have imposter syndrome or I struggle. I'm very much a very confident person who believes in my skills and my abilities. But for some reason, when I decided to be serious, to say, okay, we're going to do 50 videos in 2021, it was like, oh, you're tripping, Judah. Like, so that was the first thing. And then I think around June, July, I made about maybe 3-4 videos, which I made of about 3 of them I shot on a single day when I was kind of like in a row. Then I kind of paused, and I was now starting to think to myself like, oh, when like, what is the objective of what I'm doing? I guess that I started to question myself, like, because I now started to feel like I need to have exactly something to say, and starting to question yourself, like, do I even know what I'm talking about? And the other thing as well that I started finding about that journey was, I started looking for perfectionism. It's like, okay, maybe I need to get lighting, because the problem is that I don't have good lighting. So that's what I started telling myself. So what did I do? I went and looked for some LED lights. You know, I did all this. I went into a full-blown shiny toe syndrome. I even got a new phone. I got the latest iPhone because I thought, you know, it needs to be HD. I got a professional microphone. I got stands and everything. And then after getting all that equipment, I only recorded one video. And then I was like, oh, I need to really think about what I'm talking about. And to be honest, like one of my strengths is idea generation. And I don't know how many of you are like people like me who, like, you know, always constantly thinking about ideas, always having things. But for some reason, you know, the idea generator just went blank, literally almost like having a brain freeze, don't know what to talk about. And then I got caught up into like, okay, I don't want to just be a talking head, you know, like just like, I need to have the perfect background. I'm trying to think, okay, how does that work? And then I get caught up in that research about everything. And long story short is, I then went to an hiatus like from about 3 months ago. Right now I'm recording this in November 2021 and nothing has happened. But anyway, this is the challenge that I'm giving to myself, because you know what? This is something that I truly know that it's aligned. I've always wanted to do this from the purpose of serving, you know, as my service to the world, my service to the tribe, the people that I consider my tribe, and the people that I think I actually really do have some value to add, with no real much agenda other than to just share the knowledge. You know, I love talking about things. I like to explain what I'm learning, and this is a platform where it's not just limited to the people within my circles. And I've also found that sometimes the people who are my friend, they may not necessarily be interested in some of the geeky things that I want to geek about. You know what I mean? Like, I always want to understand, like, why do things work the way that they are? And I think I have a very good strength of being able to consolidate all that information and share that with people, or to share that with you. And that's the purpose. So anyway, back to what I was saying, that the purpose of today's video is to just really talk about how hard it is to keep momentum. Like, to say, now today is November the 6th, and I'm thinking in terms of, I said I wanted to do 52 videos, you know, that was the benchmark when I was feeling quite motivated at the beginning of the year. And I did a count. I think I've done 9 videos that I've recorded, and that's totally fine. From the place of self-compassion, understanding myself, I'm like, okay, you know, kudos to you for accepting where you are and have self-compassion. I think I did a video earlier about how self-criticism is not necessarily effective, and I've got the data to prove that, to say I don't think it necessarily works as good as we think it does. So with all of that in mind, I'm just coming to this conclusion to say, you know what, I'm making a challenge for myself. I think today, like we discovered, is the 6th of November, and I have about 31 days in December, as well as 24 days. I think that will give me enough days to do the remaining 42 videos. So this is the challenge to myself, you know, to say that I want to give it a go. I think one of the things that I'm now going to accept, and I'm finding about why it's so hard to keep momentum, is that I think sometimes when we start, we want to be superstars at the first instance. We think, and one of the things that I actually discovered, that from the purposes of doing YouTube videos and starting out, that ideas are actually more important than equipment, than everything. Like what you're actually talking about, getting clarity around who the people that I'm serving. And you know what I think I'm going to use as an initial start is that I'm actually just want to build my own muscle of listening, talking, sharing, consolidating information. And even today I did something that I'm proud, where I actually wrote like a plan to say, okay, this is what I want to talk about, because I usually like just to go off the cuff and everything, but I found that it makes me freeze. Like when I'm just by myself, it's different like when you're talking to somebody, because you can bounce off their energy and whatever. But like when you're just talking to the camera and it's by yourself, it's like, oh, okay, I don't know if I am resonating or anything. But tell me about some of the challenges that you've had with keeping momentum. Like to say, so like I say, I know it's hard to keep momentum, but I'm saying a challenge. I've always been a person who likes to take a challenge and say, you know what, if anybody can do it, I can do it. And that's what I'm declaring, to say, you know what, I think I'm going to do 42 videos between now. So that's going to be about a video a day. So wow, wish me luck, guys, as I embark on this journey. I hope you found this video quite valuable. So as I sign off and get ready to prepare the 42 videos that I have, you see my whiteboard over there. It's ready to get some work. I've got my notes and I'm going to do the best, you know, because at the end of the day, following your passion is, I think, is important, and just having a go, trying things out. And this is something that I'm putting as a challenge to myself, to say, okay, You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to meet the standards, and you don't have to compare yourself with people who have got 1 million subscribers who've been doing this for more than 5 years and everything. Just do you and fine. And I hope you can share this with people that you think they can find it valuable. Like I say, the mission at the end of the day is that to share knowledge with people who are time poor, and share some tips about productivity, some of the things that I'm interested in about human thinking, about how, you know, people get to make the decisions, and as well as some of the any current interest things, like, you know, crypto's been going crazy. I think I'll cover that. It's something that I'm also learning at the moment. So I hope you have a great and wonderful time and you found this valuable. If you found this valuable, you know what to do. Share this with somebody, click on subscribe, and, you know, like a button. I know I feel a bit of a cringe when I say that, because everybody says it on YouTube, but I apparently it's supposed to be good for the algorithm, and I've never been a person who's been like into asking people the things to do, but like that's what everybody's doing. So anyway, I hope you found this great, this video awesome. Have a wonderful day.